Shifting hormones can make hair go haywire. Experts say there are ways to manage it. Since going through menopause, I've noticed changes to my scalp and hair texture. My scalp is dry and flaky, and my hair is dry and falling out. What's going on, and is there anything I can do to address it? These things will be familiar to many women going through menopause, said Dr. Shilpi Ketterpal, a dermatologist at Cleveland Clinic. About half of menopausal women notice accelerated hair loss and changes in texture at this life stage, according to a recent study. The years leading up to and after menopause are characterized by dramatic shifts in levels of female sex hormones. Though research specifically into menopausal hair loss is sparse, the hormonal changes are believed to contribute to changes in hair growth and texture as well as in scalp texture, Dr. Ketterpal said. Hair follicles, which are tiny organs under the skin that contain the root of the hair, contain receptors for sex hormones like estrogen, testosterone and other androgens. There isn't much conclusive research on how female sex hormones specifically affect hair. However, some preliminary studies in mice and on skin cells suggest that estrogen affects hair growth, possibly stimulating it, and may also be responsible for maintaining the diameter of each strand of hair. There's probably more that estrogen is doing that we don't know of, but a lot of women come in and tell me, my hair is not as shiny or radiant as it once was, and the only change is that they've been through menopause, Dr. Ketterpal said. The Manhattan criminal case against Donald Trump. Card 1 of 8. A long-running inquiry. After beating back prosecutors' investigations for years, former President Donald Trump has been indicted by a grand jury in Manhattan. The case marks the first time a former American president has faced criminal charges. Here is what to know. Why was Trump indicted? The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, brought the case over Trump's role in a hush money payment to a porn star, Stormy Daniels, who then agreed to keep quiet about her story of an affair with him. The 34-count indictment accused him of falsifying business records related to the payoff, which came in the last days of the 2016 presidential campaign and may have functioned as an illegal donation to his candidacy. What do we know about the investigation? The Manhattan District Attorney's Office began scrutinizing Trump's role nearly 5 years ago. After the start of Bragg's tenure in 2022, the new district attorney developed concerns about the strength of the case, which was at that point primarily focused on Trump's business practices. Last summer, Bragg's prosecutors dug into the hush money payment, seeking to jump-start the inquiry. What is Michael Cohen's role in the case? In 2016, Daniels tried to sell her story to the National Enquirer, but the tabloid turned her down and helped broker a hush money deal between Cohen, Trump's fixer at the time, and Daniels's lawyer instead. Cohen paid $130,000 to Daniels. Trump reimbursed him after the election. In 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty to several federal crimes, including campaign finance violations, with prosecutors saying that the hush money had amounted to an improper donation to Trump's campaign. Who is Karen McDougal and how is she related to the case? McDougal is a former Playboy playmate who tried to sell her story of an affair with Trump during the campaign and reached a $150,000 agreement with the National Enquirer. Rather than publish her account, the tabloid suppressed it in cooperation with Trump and Cohen, an arrangement that was cited by Mr. Bragg's prosecutors in court documents. What else did the court documents say? The court documents also invoked a payment to a former Trump Tower doorman who claimed that Trump had fathered a child out of wedlock. The National Enquirer paid $30,000 for the rights to his story, although it eventually concluded that his claim was false. What has Trump said about the case? The former president, who pleaded not guilty, has referred to Bragg, who is black and a Democrat, as a racist, and to the criminal investigation as a politically motivated witch hunt. In the run-up to the indictment, he made threatening statements reminiscent of his posts in the days before the January 6 attack. After his arraignment, he delivered a speech, during which he described the judge overseeing the case as Trump-hating. What happens next? In the coming months, prosecutors and defense lawyers will exchange documents and evidence and file motions. The next hearing in the case is set for December 4, when the judge, Juan Merchan, will rule on motions. The trial has been scheduled for March 25, 3 weeks after Super Tuesday, one of the most important days on the Republican presidential primary calendar. Other hormones, particularly testosterone, which has been more extensively studied, are responsible for sebum production, which are oils that nourish and moisturize the scalp and hair shaft, the part of the hair that is visible above the skin. During menopause, those hormones can also be thrown out of whack, possibly leading to an increasingly dry and flaky scalp and more brittle hair. What other factors might change hair? In many cases, menopause-related hormonal changes may be exacerbating an existing hair issue, said Dr. Emma Gutman-Yaski, chair of the dermatology department at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, whose research focuses on alopecia. Other factors might chip away at hair quality and growth before a woman enters perimenopause, like chronic inflammatory conditions, which are often tied to hair loss, and other stressors, like COVID-19, which can lead to temporary hair loss, she said. Age is also associated with changes in hair growth, thickness and texture in both men and women, said Dr. Paradai Murmurani, a dermatologist at Kaiser Permanente who specializes in hair disorders and loss. Even a lack of nutrients can play a big role in hair changes, Dr. Ketterpal said, particularly of vitamin D and iron. We've done a lot of research looking into this, and we know vitamin D acts more like a hormone in the hair than a vitamin, she said. So with all of my patients we test vitamin D.